What's up, guys? I'm Laura from Reading in Bed. Today is Sunday, December 9th. I have a hangover because I had 3 drinks last night at my husband's Christmas party, in case you're wondering what it's like to be 38. I'm okay though, but I'm not going to be on camera. You are getting a nice view of some gingerbread houses that my kids made, which they have informed me are crime scenes. Here you can see a murderer with a trail of blood leading to some sort of dismembered body. Yeah. So anyways, I was going to start by just revealing today's story in the short story advent calendar. I've already kind of pulled it apart, and then talk about some other stuff I've been reading. However, I don't have a story number 9. Now, this kind of thing actually did happen a few times with the first short story advent calendar back in 2015. Although I don't think I ended up being short any stories, but I had doubles of some, and some of them were out of order and stuff. But since then, the 2016-2017 calendars were complete in the right order. This is the first time I think I've ever been missing a story. So I'm going to get in touch with someone over there and see what I can do. But I thought I might as well just get ahead of the game with number 10 because, tomorrow's another busy day. It's a full day of work and school for everybody. And then one of the kids has a doctor's appointment. So let's just do December 10th and hopefully I can come back to number 9. We've been having a real good run of stories. The last 3, I think, have all been really great, and I think that George Saunders could be a favorite, so I'm just trying to crack the seal with one hand here on number 10, which is 1 Gram Short by Edgar Carrot, translated from the Hebrew by Nathan Englander. Okay, cool. So let's see. Edgar Carrot was born in Tel Aviv in 1967, and he's got a couple of books out. Nathan Englander, that sounds really familiar too. I'm just looking to see what he's written. I don't think I'm familiar with any of the books. So I have read at least one other book translated from Hebrew, and that would be A Horse Walked Into a Bar, which won the Man Booker International Prize maybe 2 years ago. Which I loved. I really loved that book. And I even listened to a podcast in which the author read some of it in Hebrew. And Hebrew is a language that, unless I'm mistaken, doesn't have a lot of passing resemblance to English. It's not like French or even German where you might pick up the odd thing. It's, to me, totally incomprehensible. But it was cool to hear, you hear the rhythm and the sound of what something was originally written in, and it's kind of cool. So yeah, this is feels like a shorter one, just about 9 pages. Let's just take a quick look at the beginning. So there's an adorable waitress at the coffee shop next to my house. Benny, who works in the kitchen there, told me that her name is Shikma, that she doesn't have a boyfriend, and that she's a fan of recreational drugs. Okay, cool. I think we already had one pretty good stoner story, and maybe this is another. And the title, 1 Gram Short, seems to suggest that as well. So that's the short story calendar. I'll definitely be able to read that today. Now, just quickly, some of the other reading I've been doing. So one of these is a cookbook. So this is Michael Smith, Family Meals. If you're in Canada, you might know him as Chef at Home. When I was on mat leave, I watched Chef at Home religiously every day. So soothing. This is a new recipe. Slow-baked chicken legs with barbecue flavors. Let's just note the American spelling of flavors here. Yeah, that's not cool, Michael Smith. Come on. But yeah, pretty much all his recipes are foolproof. I have 4 of his cookbooks. They're just real good, basic recipes. But they often will have a little box or whatever on the side that suggests some different ways you can change the spices or change the flavor or whatever. Some nice photography. We'll see if mine looks like that when it's done. I do like to read cookbooks as books when there is a bit of narrative to them, and these, despite that American spelling, I just realized that now as I'm filming. I really like Michael Smith's. And then I've already taken you through a bit of Bookforum, but I finally finished this issue. And there was one more review I wanted to mention because it was another, here we go, another scathing review, which are my favorite. It's called Shill Your Darlings. This is a review of Hollywood's Eve Babbitt's and the Secret History of L.A. So first of all, Shill Your Darling is just a great punny title because the author of this book is like a big Eve Babbitt's fangirl, I guess, and that's kind of, the review is very scathing, and it kind of, but it's a little unfocused because she sort of, the reviewer sort of attacks the author for, on the one hand, not being a big enough fan because she criticizes some of Eve Babbitt's works, and on the other hand, being too big of a fan and like arguing that Eve Babbitt's, not Joan Didion, should be like the go-to female LA author or whatever. Yeah, I mean, so this could have been, I think, a little tighter as a review, but there are a lot of good zingers in here, which I do love. But yeah, this was really good. And then the very last review in here on the last page was a review of a book about tennis. So The Circuit, A Tennis Odyssey, is an author who is, again, a big fan of tennis. So we've got two kind of fan things going on here, who follows like the entire circuit of tennis competitions for a whole year, which I guess is like a ton, and they're all in different time zones and countries. And he just like makes it into a narrative. And the guy writing, both the reviewer and the guy writing, aren't like, they play, but they were never professional level players. They're just fans. Like, they appreciate the game. You know, and props to this author for writing about writers and tennis literature without mentioning David Foster Wallace, although, you know, he's probably the best known writer who writes about tennis. But yeah, this was a really nice review. I liked the balance of the author's own kind of personal stake in this. And then she, you know, that's kind of the first paragraph or two, and then she gets right into the book and kind of sticks with it, and then brings it back at the end to sort of, you know, what is sports fandom about? It's so weird. I think she even says in here somewhere, I am dumbfounded by ice hockey, like saying how, you know, for her, tennis is this thing. She recognizes that for other people, it's other sports. For me, it's definitely hockey. Like, even reading ice hockey is kind of weird as a Canadian. But anyways, this was another really good review. So overall, this was a great issue of Bookforum. I mean, mostly they are. The only times I don't kind of read cover to cover is when there's like a big political focus, which sometimes they do have, and it's, you know, very American in its perspective, of course, which makes sense. It's an American magazine. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going to see what I can do about this little mix-up with my calendar, but other than that, I'm going to continue cooking. I've got to make some potatoes and stuff to go along with this, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow.